INT Temple third room day. Arthur runs into the third room. Arthur thinking, I wonder what that moron prince is up to. INT Temple first side room day. Prince Mokhtar enters the first side room. Prince Mokhtar sees a net filled with gold coins hanging from the ceiling at the north corner. Prince Mokhtar, free gold. I can get the magic lamp. Prove to my mother that I will make her good ruler and get even more gold in one quest. Prince Mokhtar walks up to the north corner of the room and falls into a trapdoor. INT Temple, first side room's pit trap day. Prince Mokhtar is standing first side room's pit trap. Prince Mokhtar screaming in anger, no. Cut to INT Temple third room day. Arthur looks forward and sees an automatic spear trap bobbing up and down. Arthur thinking, okay, every room in this place has a puzzle like one of those games with knights and dragons that are played with weird dice, so I just got to figure out how to get past that wall of spears. A massive amount of gold magically appears right behind the spear trap. Arthur just stands there and stares at the gold. Even more gold magically appears right behind the spear trap. Even more gold magically appears right behind Arthur. Tons of gold blocks that look like a staircase magically appears right behind the spear trap. Arthur thinking, maybe if I just stand here. Far more gold magically appears right behind the spear trap. Even more gold magically appears right behind the Arthur. A massive amount of gold magically appears right on top of the spear trap. Arthur hears the spears snap underneath the pressure of the weight of the pressure of the gold. The ton of gold blocks that look like a staircase. Arthur climbs up the gold blocks out of the third room. INT Temple mystic hallway day. Arthur enters a hallway with a ton of magical items on pedestals. Arthur looks around the room. Arthur, wow. Arthur walks down the hallway. Arthur walks up a crystal ball that's showing Chibuzo and Queen Jamila. Angle on the crystal ball. Chibuzo appearing in the crystal ball. Thou art truly a good queen. I shall do what it takes to make, even if it means causing New York to crumble. Queen Jamila laughing, oh Chibuzo, you make it sound so evil. Queen Jamila, it is not my fault that you don't have enough magic to send King Arthur back to England, and even if the ruins of crumbles, because its king is stuck in this realm, maybe I will adopt him. Both Queen Jamila and Chibuzo laugh. Queen Jamila, all that matters is that I or my son get the magic lamp, so that he can become a great king. Chibuzo, you are right, my queen. It does not matter that I don't have enough magic to send King Arthur back. Angle on Arthur. Arthur thinking, so they were never going to send me back to Earth. Arthur pauses. Arthur screaming in anger, I should have known. Arthur kicks the wall in anger, causing the magic ring to fall out of Arthur's pocket. Arthur screaming in anger, stupid, ugly old hags. The magic ring is rubbed as it hits the floor. Arthur screaming in anger, I am really gonna steal the magic lamp now. Tonhaung appears in a puff of smoke. Tonhaung, hello, you must be my new master. Arthur turns around. Arthur screaming at. Arthur jumps to the east corner of the hallway. Arthur, back off, cootie monster. Tonhaung, I'm not a cootie monster. Arthur, really? You're a girl. Arthur points at Tonhaung. Arthur, girls have cooties. Tonhaung, what? I'm Tonhaung, the genie of the ring, and will obey. Tonhaung looks around and then she looks at Arthur. Tonhaung to Arthur, you must be my new master. Arthur, so you're what makes the magic ring magic. Tonhaung, so do you have a wish or did you just want to meet me? Arthur picks up the magic ring. Arthur, actually I do, or I wish that I was where the magic lamp is. Tanhaung, yes, master. Tanhaung snaps her fingers and both Arthur and her disappear in a puff of smoke. Cut to INT Temple final room day. Arthur Tanhaung appear in a puff of smoke. Tanhaung very happy, I finally get to see my sister again. Arthur walks up to the altar in the middle of the room. Arthur climbs up onto the altar and picks up the magic lamp. Arthur rubs the magic lamp and releases Zyajah. Zyajah looks down and sees Arthur standing on the altar. Hey, what do you want, you little tyrant? Arthur, I'm not a tyrant. Zyajah sarcastically humped. Not yet, but you will be. Zyajah, hello Zyajah, this is the first time that we have seen each other on 50 years. Arthur, okay, here's my first wish. They're these two stupid, ugly old hags and they're the reason that I'm here, so I wish that the worst possible thing that you can think of would happen to them. Tanhaung, what are their names? Arthur pauses. Arthur, I can't remember, but I can show you. Though a crystal ball. Arthur, Zyajah, I wish that we were where we first met. Tanhaung, yes, master. Arthur, Zyajah and Tanhaung disappear in a puff of smoke. INT Temple Mystic Hallway Day. Arthur, Zyajah and Tanhaung appear in a puff of smoke. Arthur looks around and finds the pedestal with the crystal ball that's showing Chibiuzo and Queen Jamila. Arthur pointing at the crystal ball, them the two hags and the crystal ball. Zyajah, those two? Arthur, yes. Zyajah snaps her fingers. Cut to EXT Altais at the temple day. Chibiuzo and Queen Jamila are chuckling. Two magic lamps suddenly appear right in front of Chibiuzo and Queen Jamila. Queen Jamila, what is this? Chibiuzo, there were two of them this whole time? The first magic lamp sucks up Queen Jamila and the second magic lamp sucks up one Chibiuzo, trapping them both. Wei runs up to the two magic lamps and picks them up. Wei, well, this did not go exactly the way I wanted, but hey, I ended up with two magic lamps. I shall no longer be poor. Wei runs off with the two magic lamps. INT Temple Mystic Hallway Day. Arthur, now I wish I was home. Zyajah, yes, master. Zyajah pauses. Arthur, why are we still here? Zyajah, do not worry, master, just let me read thy mind. Zyajah levitates Arthur into the air and places her hand on his forehead. Zyajah reads Arthur's mind, show an image of the Gibson household. Zyajah levitates Arthur down to the floor and snaps her fingers. Arthur, Zyajah and Tanhaung disappear in a puff of smoke. Gibson household. INT Gibson household living room day. Arthur, Zyajah and Tanhaung appear in a puff of smoke. Arthur, well, I am back home. Arthur pauses. Arthur whispering, try and sneak up to my room. Zyajah and Tanhaung both pause. Tanhaung whispering, we do not know what that means. Arthur whispering, then, just stand right here and don't move. INT Gibson household kitchen day. Arthur peeks into the kitchen to see that Monica is still unconscious. INT Gibson household living room day. Arthur whispering to Zyajah and Tanhaung, follow me and make sure not to make any noise. Arthur, Zyajah and Tanhaung sneak up to his bedroom. INT Gibson household Arthur's room day. Arthur, okay, just stay here, I'll be right back. INT Gibson household kitchen day. Arthur walks into the room, begins showing things from Monica's point of view. Everything is black. Arthur voiceover, Mom. Mom, wake up. Monica opens her eyes to see Arthur looking down at her. Stop showing things from Monica's point of view. Monica, oh, Arthur, my head hurts. Monica puts right her hand on her head. Monica, what happened? Arthur, I was watching Underworld Sente and then The ground shook and I heard a lot of loud noises, and then I came in here and you were lying on the floor out cold with a lot of pots on the floor, so you most likely got hit on the head and knocked by the pots. Monica, listen, Arthur, I'm going to order a pizza, but first I'm going to take some Tylenol. Arthur, wait, Mom, do we have a cardboard box? Monica, yes, I do, and it's in the garage. Arthur, can I have it? Monica, sure. Arthur, I'm gonna go get it. Monica, no, I'll walk you out to get it. INT Gibson household garage day. Arthur picks up the cardboard box. Monica, I have to lie down for a while before I order pizza. I really hope that you're okay with that, because my head really hurts. Arthur, okay, Mom. Cut to INT Gibson household Arthur's room day. Arthur walks in holding the cardboard box and closes the door with his foot. Zaya, what is that? Arthur, something to hide your lamp in. Arthur puts the cardboard box down on the floor. Arthur, I got revenge and I got back home, so I wonder what my last wish should be. Zaya, what does thou mean, final wish? Arthur, you know the 3 wishes, like in the story of Aladdin where he rubbed the and you granted him 3 wishes, or was that another one of the old hag's lies? Zaya, it was both. I and my sister are far more powerful than that. Thou have thy magic lamp, and there is no limit to how many wishes that you can make. Tanhong, sister, thou should tell master thy true story of Aladdin. Zaya, okay. Zaya levitates Arthur into the air and sits him down on his bed. Cut to EXT China. Over a millennia ago, they show an image of what China looked like over a millennia ago. Zaya, voiceover, there once lived a little boy named Aladdin, a careless, idle boy who did not like work. Show an image of Mustafa the tailor on his deathbed. Zaya, voiceover, this so grieved the father that he died, but even this was not enough to make Aladdin mend his ways. INT Gibson household Arthur's room day. Arthur, okay, now I find that hard to believe. Zaya, well, it did. EXT China streets day show an image of Aladdin meeting the famous African magician. Zaya, voiceover, one day, when Aladdin was playing in the streets, he met a stranger, asked him if he was not the son of Mustafa the tailor, and he said, I'm sir, but he died a long while ago. Then the stranger, who was a famous African magician, said, I'm your uncle, and knew you from your likeness to my brother. Go to your mother and tell her I'm coming. So Aladdin ran home to tell her. EXT China Aladdin's house day show an image of Aladdin, his mother, and the African magician eating dinner. Zaya, voiceover, Aladdin told his mother of what was going on, to which she said, indeed your father did have a brother, but I always thought he was dead. At dinner he then turned to Aladdin and asked him his trade, at which the boy hung his head in shame, while his mother burst into tears on learning that Aladdin was idle and would learn no trade. He offered to take a shop for him and stock it with merchandise. INT Gibson household Arthur's room day. Arthur Way. Trade shop merchandise. I may be from the 21st century, but was the African magician trying to make Aladdin into a famous superstar? Tanhong, no, Aladdin's mother was just sad because her son could not get a job. Arthur, that's illegal. It breaks child labor laws. Zaya, it was a different time. EXT China clothes shop day show an image of Aladdin and the African magician in the mountains. Zaya, voiceover, the next day the magician led Aladdin into the mountains. Aladdin was so tired that he begged to go back, but the magician beguiled him with pleasant stories to keep him from leaving, until the magician said, we will go no farther. I will show you something wonderful, only do you gather up sticks while I kindle a fire. When it was lit, the magician threw a net of powder onto the fire, while saying magical words. Show an image of Aladdin and the African magician standing in the mountains as an earthquake is happening. Zayaj voiceover: the earth shook in front of them, disclosing a square flat stone with a brass ring in the middle to raise it. Aladdin tried to run away, but the magician caught him and gave him a blow that knocked him down. "What have I done, uncle?" Aladdin said, whereupon the magician said, "Fear nothing, but obey me. Beneath this stone lies a treasure which is to be yours, and no one else may touch it, so you must do exactly as I tell you." At the word treasure, Aladdin forgot his fears and grasped the ring, as he was told. Show an image of Aladdin using the magic ring. Zayaj voiceover: Aladdin spoke the names of his ancestors. The stone came up quite easily, and some steps appeared. Go down at the foot of those steps. You will find an open door leading into 3 large halls. Tuck up your gown and go through them without touching anything, or you will die instantly. These halls lead into a garden of fine fruit trees. Walk on till you come to niche in a terrace where stands a lighted lamp. Pour out the oil it contains, and bring it me, the magician said, and Aladdin went into the cave. Show an image of Aladdin holding the magic lamp. Zayaj voiceover: Aladdin found everything, as the magician had said, but when he arrived at the mouth of the cave, the magician cried out in a great hurry, "Make haste and give me the lamp." But this Aladdin refused to do. Until he was out of the cave, the magician flew into a terrible passion, and throwing some more powder onto the fire, he spoke something, and the stone rolled back into its place. Image of the magician running away like a coward. Zayaj voiceover: the magician left China, which plainly showed that he was no uncle of Aladdin's, but a cunning magician who had read in his magic books of the wonderful lamp, which would make him the most powerful man in the world. Though he alone knew where to find it, he could only receive it from the hand of another, and he had picked out the foolish Aladdin for this purpose, intending to get the lamp and kill him afterwards. Show an image of Aladdin in the cave. Zayaj voiceover: for 2 days Aladdin remained in the dark, crying and lamenting. At last he clasped his hands in prayer, and in so doing rubbed the ring which the magician had forgotten to take from him. Show an image of Aladdin accidentally summoning the ring genie. Zayaj voiceover: immediately a genie rose out of the earth, saying, "What wouldst thou with me? I'm a slave of the ring and will obey thee in all things." Show an image of Aladdin and the ring genie outside of the cave. Zayaj voiceover: Aladdin fearlessly replied, "Deliver me from this place," whereupon the earth opened and he found himself outside. As soon as his eyes could bear the light, he went home. Show an image of Aladdin out cold on the ground. Zayaj voiceover: but fainted on the threshold. Show an image of Aladdin and his mother, as she is rubbing the lamp. Zayaj voiceover: when he came to himself, he told his mother what had passed and showed her the lamp and the fruits he had gathered in the garden, which were in reality precious stones. He then asked for some food. "Alas, child, I have nothing in the house, but I have spun a little cotton and will go sell it," she said. Aladdin bade her keep her cotton, for he would sell the lamp instead, as it was very dirty. Show an image of Aladdin, his mother, and a female genie standing in their house. Zayaj voiceover: she began to rub it that it might fetch a higher price. Instantly a genie appeared and asked what she would have. Aladdin said boldly, "Fetch me something to eat." The genie returned with a silver bowl and 12 silver plates containing rich meats, 2 silver cups, and 2 bottles of wine. Show an image of Aladdin and his mother eating dinner. Zayaj voiceover: Aladdin's mother said, "This be a splendid feast." So they sat at breakfast, till it was dinner time, and Aladdin sold one of the silver plates and so on, until none were left. He then had recourse to the genie, who gave him another set of plates, and thus they lived many years. Show an image of the Sultan and the Princess. Dialogue voiceover. One day Aladdin bore witness to the Sultan and the Princess's daughter, who looked so beautiful that Aladdin fell in love with her at first sight. Show an image of Aladdin's mother laughing at him. Dialogue voiceover. Aladdin went home so changed that his mother was frightened. He told her he loved the princess so deeply he could not live without her, and meant to ask for her hand in marriage of her father. His mother, on hearing this, burst out laughing, but Aladdin at last prevailed upon her to go before the Sultan and carry his request. Show an image of Aladdin's mother walking out with the magic fruits. Dialogue voiceover. She fetched a napkin and laid in it the magic fruits from the enchanted garden, which sparkled and shone like the most beautiful jewels. She took these with her to please the Sultan and set out trusting in the lamp. Show an image of Aladdin's mother standing in the audience chamber. Dialogue voiceover. The Sultan's Grand Vizier and the Lords of Council had just got in. As she entered the hall and placed herself in front of the Sultan, he however took no notice of her. She went every day for a week and stood in the same place. When the council broke up on the 6th day, the Sultan said to his vizier, "I see a certain woman in the audience chamber every day carrying something in a napkin. Call her next time that I may find out what she wants." Show an image of Aladdin's mother kneeling before the Sultan. Dialogue voiceover. The next day, at a sign from the vizier, she went up to the foot of the Sultan's throne and remained kneeling until he said to her, "Rise, good woman, and tell me what you want." She hesitated, so the Sultan sent away all but the vizier and bade her speak freely, promising to forgive her beforehand for anything she might say. Show an image of Aladdin's mother begging to the vizier. Dialogue voiceover. She then told him of her son's love for the princess. "I begged him to forget her," she said, "but in vain. He threatened to do some desperate deed if I refused to go and ask your majesty for the hand of the princess. Now I pray you to forgive not me alone, but my son Aladdin." Show an image of Aladdin's mother begging to the jewels. Dialogue voiceover. The Sultan asked her kindly what she had in the napkin, whereupon she unfolded the jewels and presented them. He was thunderstruck, and turning to the vizier said, "What sayest thou? Ought I not to bestow the princess on one who values her at such a price?" Show an image of the vizier begging to the Sultan. Dialogue voiceover. The vizier, who wanted her for his own son, begged the Sultan to withhold her for 3 months, in the course of which he hoped his son could contrive to make him a richer present. The Sultan granted this and told Aladdin's mother that, though he consented to the marriage, she must not appear before him again for 3 months. Show an image of Aladdin talking to his mother. Dialogue voiceover. Aladdin waited patiently for nearly 3 months, but after 2 had elapsed, his mother, going into the city to buy oil, found everyone rejoicing and asked what was going on. "Do you not know that the son of the Grand Vizier is to marry the Sultan's daughter tonight?" Breathless, she ran and told Aladdin, who was overwhelmed. Show an image of Aladdin talking to the genie. Dialogue voiceover. But presently bethought him of the lamp. He rubbed it, and the genie appeared, saying, "What is thy will?" Aladdin replied, "The Sultan, as thou knowest, has broken his promise to me and the vizier's son is to have the princess. My command is that tonight he bring hither the bride and bridegroom and the genie master." "I obey," said the genie. Show an image of Aladdin and the genie are standing outside of the bedchamber. voiceover Aladdin then went to his chamber where sure enough at midnight the genie transported the bed containing the vizier's son and the princess, take this new married man and put him outside in the cold and return at daybreak. Show an image of Aladdin inside of the bedchamber in front of the princess. Ziyad voiceover whereupon the genie took the vizier's son out of bed, leaving Aladdin with the princess. Fear nothing, you are my wife, promised to me by your unjust father, and no harm will come to you. Show an image of the princess with a scared look on her face. Ziyad voiceover the princess was too frightened to speak and passed the most miserable night of her life, while Aladdin lay down beside her and slept soundly. Show an image of Aladdin lying down on the bed right next to the princess. Ziyad voiceover at the appointed hour the genie fetched in the shivering bridegroom, laid him in his place and transported the bed back to the palace. Show an image of the princess talking to her mother. Ziyad voiceover presently the sultan came to wish his daughter good morning. The unhappy vizier's son jumped up and hid himself, while the princess would not say a word and was very sorrowful. The sultan sent her mother to her, who said, "How comes it, child, that you will not speak to your father? What has happened?" The princess sighed deeply and at last told her mother how during the night the bed had been carried into some strange house and what had passed there. Her mother did not believe her in the least, and the only thing she did was beg her daughter to consider it an idle dream. Show an image of Aladdin standing in the open window with an evil grin on his face and the princess lying in bed with a scared look on her face. Ziyad voiceover the following night exactly the same thing happened. Show an image of Aladdin's mother talking to the sultan. Ziyad voiceover when the 3 months were over, Aladdin sent his mother to remind the sultan of his promise. She stood in the same place as before, and the sultan, who had forgotten Aladdin, at once remembered him and sent for her. On seeing her poverty, the sultan felt less inclined than ever to keep his word and asked his vizier's advice, who counseled him to set so high a value on the princess that no man living would come up to it. The sultan then turned to Aladdin's mother, saying, "Good woman, a sultan must remember his promises, and I will remember mine, but your son must first send me 40 basins of gold brimful of jewels carried by 40 slaves that are splendidly dressed. Tell him that I await his answer." The mother of Aladdin bowed low and went home thinking all was lost. Show another image of Aladdin talking to his mother. Ziyad voiceover she gave Aladdin the message, adding, "He may wait long enough for your answer." To Aladdin replied, "Not so long, mother, as you'll think. I would do a great deal more than that for the princess." He summoned the genie, and in a few moments the 40 slaves arrived and filled up the small house and garden. Show another image of Aladdin's mother and the 4 slaves kneeling before the sultan. Ziyad voiceover Aladdin made them to set out to the palace 2 by 2, followed by his mother. They were so richly dressed with such splendid jewels that everyone crowded to see them, and the basins of gold they carried on their heads. They entered the palace, and after kneeling before the sultan, stood in a half-circle round the throne with their arms crossed. While Aladdin's mother presented them to the sultan, he hesitated no longer and said, "Good woman, return and tell your son that I wait for him with open arms." Show another image of Aladdin talking to the genie. Ziyad voiceover he lost no time in telling Aladdin, bidding him make haste, but Aladdin first called the genie. "I want to send to bath a richly embroidered habit, a horse surpassing the sultan's, and 20 slaves to attend me, besides the 6 slaves beautifully dressed to wait on my mother, and lastly 10,000 pieces of gold in 10 purses." Show another image of Aladdin talking to the sultan. Zayajid voiceover no sooner said than done. Aladdin mounted his horse and passed through the streets, the slaves strewing gold. When the Sultan saw him, he came down from his throne, embraced him and led him into a hall where a feast was spread, intending to marry him to the princess that very day. But Aladdin refused, saying, "I must build a palace fit for her," and took his leave. Show an image of Aladdin making demands of the genie. Zayajid voiceover once home he said to the genie, "Build me a palace of the finest marble, set with jasper, agate, and other precious stones. In the middle you shall build me a large hall with a dome, its 4 walls of massy gold and silver, each side having 6 windows, whose lattices, all, except one which is to be left unfinished, must be set with diamonds and rubies. There must be stables and horses and grooms and slaves. Go and see about it." The palace was finished the next day, and the genie carried him there and showed him all his orders faithfully carried out, even to the laying of the velvet carpet from Aladdin's palace. Show an image of Aladdin talking to the princess. Zayajid voiceover to the Sultan's Aladdin's mother then dressed herself carefully and walked to the palace with her slaves, while he followed her on horseback. The Sultan sent musicians with trumpets and cymbals to meet them, so that the air resounded with music and cheers. She was taken to the princess, who saluted her and treated her with great honor. Show an image of the unfinished window. Zayajid voiceover the next day Aladdin invited the Sultan to see the palace. On entering the hall with the 24 windows with their rubies, diamonds, and emeralds, he cried, "It is a world's wonder. There is only one thing that surprises me. Was it by accident that one window was left unfinished?" "No, sir, by design," returned Aladdin. "I wished your majesty to have the glory of finishing this palace." The Sultan was pleased and sent for the best jewelers in the city. He showed them the unfinished window and bade them fit it up like the others. Show an image of the genie finishing the window with a very annoyed look on her face. Zayajid voiceover in a month's time the work was not half done. Knowing that, Aladdin summoned the female genie to finish the window at his command.